This episode of the Crack House Chronicles is brought to you by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist.
You can start communicating in under 48 hours. This is not a crisis line or a self-help line. It's professional counseling done securely online.
Now, Dale, this is a broad range of expertise that is available, which may not be locally available in many areas.
Yeah, this service is available for clients worldwide.
And you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get a timely and thoughtful response, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you don't have to worry about sitting in an uncomfortable waiting room and waiting on a traditional therapist.
Yeah, which is really good in this time. You don't really want to go and sit in the waiting room with a bunch of people with the stuff going on that's going on today.
Sitting there with a mask on and, yeah,
it's no good. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, and if you don't like your counselor, it's pretty easy to change.
It's more affordable than traditional online counseling, and financial aid is available.
That's always good right there.
That's awesome. Yeah. And BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today.
That's right. So visit their website and read the testimonials. They're posted there daily.
All right, Dale. Visit BetterHelp.com/CHC. That's better, HELP. And you can join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
That's right. In fact, so many people are using it now, they're actually recruiting counselors in all 50 states. So a special offer for our listeners, you can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/CHC. You got to use the code word betterhelp.com/CHC.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
Convicted serial killer Richard Ramirez seemed to relish the concept of evil, and once upon a time, a lot of folks in the state of California viewed the one-time Texas altar boy as evil's human embodiment.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil.
In the summer of 1985, the Texas drifter descended like a deadly disease on a hot California night. A one-man epidemic of madness and murder, one of America's first serial killers to be given a brand name, the Night Stalker.
Lock your doors, lock your windows. If you have the ability to provide additional security devices, then by all means do so.
Who wants to be next? I don't. No one else does.
He preyed on both women and men, young and old. He slipped through windows, slit throats, raped, tortured, and killed.
What do you want the world to know about you?
The world has been fed many lies about me. I have read very few truths.
Who are you?
Just a guy. Just a guy.
And it was here, in a cramped room in a San Francisco jail, that I interviewed the man known as the Night Stalker. A memorable face-off, with me asking questions, and Ramirez, for the most part, reading from a script.
Did you kill 13 people?
It would be improper for me to comment on my LA convictions and on my pending case here in San Francisco.
Why?
Because of my appeals.
Are you appealing these because you say you're innocent? You didn't kill 13 people?
That is correct.
You didn't kill 13 people?
Again, it would be improper for me to comment in any regard to that question.
You have now entered a very rare group of people in this country. You're in the ranks of Charlie Manson, Ted Bundy. You claim you didn't commit these murders, but you're right in there now as far as everybody else is concerned.
Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times. Even psychopaths have emotions if you dig deep enough. But then again, maybe they don't.
Do you have emotions, Richard?
No comment.
Tell me what kind of emotions you got going through you right now.
I'll tell you what, I gave up on love and happiness a long time ago.
Why?
I don't care to explain that.
Somebody-
Let the quote stand for itself. People in this day and age are brainwashed and programmed like a computer at being nothing more than puppets. This nation, this country is founded in violence. Violent delights tend to have violent ends. Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, people, and ages, it is a rule. Killing is killing, whether done for duty, profit, or fun. Men murdered themselves into this democracy.
You're good at reading your script, Richard, but you're not much at answering my direct questions. A lot was made that you're a devil worshiper. Do you worship the devil? Have you ever studied Satanism?
There are different sects of Satanism.
Have you studied, just yes or no, have you studied Satanism?
Yes, I have.
Are you a worshiper of the devil?
No comment.
Come on, Richard.
I can tell you a little bit about Satanism.
Well, I'm interested in hearing what you got to say then.
It is undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. It is power without charity. A Satanist admits to being evil.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
I'm asking you the questions, my friend.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil. Evil has always existed. The perfect world most people seek shall never come to pass, and it's going to get worse. The great epochs of our life is when we gain the courage to rebaptize our evil qualities as being our best qualities.
Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles. I am Donnie, your host, and with me is a man who just told his neighbor's kid that it's okay to pee outside. It's Dale.
What's going on, man?
Hey, man, what's up with you?
Well, that makes you sound real good.
Yeah. Well, hey, it takes a village these days, okay?
That's right. We're in the wilderness anyway.
That's it. What's going on, dude?
What's happening, my friend?
I'm ready to record another episode.
Yeah, big one this week.
Yeah, we got some good stuff, dude. Mm-hmm. But before we get started, we want to remind everyone about our Facebook page, Instagram, our website. We also have a YouTube channel that we post our episodes to. There's no video with them. It's just all audio. But, you know, if anybody doesn't like to listen to the podcast platforms, they're welcome to go to YouTube and check it out.
Yeah, jump over and hit the subscribe button. Easy for me to say.
Yep, and hit that notification bell, too, so you'll know when our episodes are uploaded.
That's right.
All right. Anything else before we get started, Dale?
I don't know. I just went blank.
Yeah, all right.
Anything else? Yeah. How about you can jump over to our website, check that out. We have a merch page. You have a store where you can donate a couple dollars, gas money. We'll send you a sticker or something.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, order a T-shirt with there's face mask on there.
Yeah, everybody needs them.
Yep. Help the cause. All right, Dale, we're going to get into our episode, man, and we've got a good one. You know, we've covered a lot of stuff, but we're going to do another serial killer this week. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty good one.
Getting cold chills already.
Yep. And this guy, his name is Ricardo Leyva Munoz Ramirez, better known as Richard Ramirez, a.k.a. the Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker.
All right.
That gets in the Night Stalker is a pretty cool name, I guess.
Yeah, it's better than all the other ones he had.
Yeah, like Valley Intruder wasn't too bad.
No.
Midnight Stalker was close. The walk-in killer, like the walk-in freezer, I guess.
Yeah, walk-in closet killer.
The screen door intruder now.
Yeah, that there. Yeah. I think the Night Stalker is about the best one he had.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's cool being a serial killer and all, but I mean, for a name, not cool to be a serial killer, but just if you're gonna have a name, Night Stalker is way better than the screen door intruder.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Ramirez was born in El Paso, Texas, on February the 29th, 1960.
So that makes him a leap year baby.
Yep. That's right. And he was the youngest of 5 children to Julian and Mercedes Ramirez.
Right.
Yeah. And Dale, his father, Julian, was a Mexican national and former Juarez, Mexico policeman. and they moved to the United States, and he became a laborer on the Santa Fe Railroad.
Yeah, he's a pretty strict parent, I think.
They were very religious parents, from what I've heard.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to
spare the rod.
Yeah.
And prone to fits of anger, and which pretty often resulted in physical abuse to his children.
Yeah, whether they need it or not, I would say.
Yeah, sound pretty rough. All right, Dale, talking about Richard's mother, Mercedes. She worked in a boot factory, and there were a lot of chemicals and different things there that they had to breathe. I guess the OSHA wasn't...
It wasn't too heavy on them.
No, they wasn't too
May
heavy.
not even be the thing. Who knows? Yeah.
And she was prone to all this vapors and
Toxic fumes,
Yeah, and most of her children, when they were born, resulted in some kind of...
birth defects.
Yeah.
Whether it was respiratory or they had one son that had like some bone deformities of some sort.
Yeah. So every one of them had some kind of deformity about them.
Right.
All right, Dale. When Richard was 2 years old, he suffered a severe head trauma.
Yeah.
I think a dresser maybe fell on him or something.
Yeah, his sister was babysitting, I think, and she wasn't paying attention. He was wanting something off the top of a dresser and started climbing. When he did, it fell on top of it.
Yeah, and gave him a pretty bad concussion at 2 years old.
Yeah, and it took more than 30 stitches to sew him up, so it was a pretty good shot.
Oh, yeah.
At 2 years old, that's not good.
No, that's not good at all. 3 years later, when Richard was 5 years old, they were on a playground, and he got hit by a swing.
Yeah, I think he was running to see his sister, and I don't know, either the swing to or the swing back. Must have caught him pretty good in the head.
Yeah, and knocked him out and gave him a concussion. And I think from this one, he was out for a good while.
Yeah, I think about 30 minutes or so.
Before they got him to come to.
Yeah.
After this, Dale, Ramirez suffered from epileptic seizures.
Right.
So this wasn't good for him at all.
Right. Yeah, that's not good. Like having two pretty serious concussions, that young, can't be good.
Yeah. Yeah, Dale, these seizures he had, I mean, they lasted him up till he was a teenager.
Yeah. And a lot of times when stuff was going down, like his dad was coming down on him stuff, to escape from all his family abuse, he would go out and actually sleep in the cemetery. He found that peaceful, and there being alone, sleeping in the cemetery.
I don't guess nobody mess with you in the cemetery at night.
I don't know. I ain't gonna be there.
But Richard played sports and stuff, but I think his when he was in school, his epilepsy prevented him from pursuing that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it wasn't a good fit for him.
Yeah, and not long after this, when he was 12, his cousin Mike comes home from Vietnam.
Better known as Miguel Ramirez.
Yeah, I guess Miguel, better known as Mike.
Yeah, I think that's the.
Did I get it backwards?
No, that's fine. Yeah. But now Miguel, his cousin Mike, he was a decorated U.S. Army Green Beret and combat veteran from the Vietnam War.
Yeah, he had seen some stuff.
Yeah. And he became a pretty big influence to Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, Richard and him, they hung out a good bit.
Yeah.
And then got to where Mike was showing Richard a lot of stuff that he probably shouldn't have been showing him.
Yeah. He would, when Miguel was in Vietnam, he would torture women over there, rape them, murder them, decapitate women.
Yeah, and he had Polaroids of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So he actually brought back photos of himself holding decapitated heads and have women tied up and stuff like that. So it's kind of a torture photos, I guess.
Yeah. And he would show these to Richard.
Yeah, and he's
12-year-old Richard.
Basically teaching Richard, it just was showing what a powerful feeling he had over these women, and basically you just take what you want, and then from there he went ahead and started showing him like army techniques, like being stealth, moving around, and shooting guns, and how to do recon, and a lot of killing techniques, especially with knives and stuff.
Yeah, and at this time too, Richard was smoking marijuana and dealing in some drugs and doing drugs. So
and sniffing glue too, I think.
Yeah.
And this is all around 12 years old.
Yeah, so this wasn't really good too. And I'd heard that our U.S. government taught Miguel how to kill, so he taught Richard how to kill.
Yep.
So this wasn't good at all.
So far we got double concussions. We're doing drugs. We're getting taught that you can just basically do what you want to the women, take what you want. And we've also learned how to kill and how to be real stealthy about it.
Before he's a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But plus, they also said that once he started smoking marijuana, that the seizures kind of eased up. So whether there was a a link to that, we don't know.
Yeah. And he may have grew out of them, too. I don't know.
True.
Yeah. All right, Dale. On May the 4th, 1973, Richard was with his cousin, Miguel. And he witnessed his cousin Miguel fatally shoot his wife, Jessie.
Yeah, Richard had discovered that Mike had kept a gun in the refrigerator of his house, and he always wondered why that was. And he told him he liked to keep it cool in case he needed to use it later or something like that. And then later that same day is when he got into a big argument with his wife, Jessica, and ended up shooting her in the face with a .32 caliber pistol right in front of Richard and their kids.
Mm-hmm, right in the face.
Yeah, and said Richard was so close he even got a little spray on him. So Mike is not a very good role model per se.
No. And it was this time Richard became sort of withdrawn from his family and even his classmates and everything. He just, I don't know, he just became shy. Wouldn't talk to anybody. I can't imagine what he went through.
You can imagine, that'd change a fella,
Oh, yeah.
You went from looking at Polaroids with stuff to right there in your face, live action in the living room.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I think Mike, how many years in prison did he get for this?
Mike actually went in and pleaded insane, so he got 4 years in a mental institution. And
Okay.
that's all he served. Was
That's
4
all he
years.
for that. Okay.
And then they let him out.
All right, Dale. Later that year, Richard moved in with his older sister, Ruth, and her husband, Roberto. Now, Roberto was an obsessive peeping Tom.
Yeah, he was a pretty freaky guy.
Yeah. And he would take Richard along with him on his little nightly exploits.
Yeah, showing him the ropes on how to spy on women, basically.
Yeah. Looking in windows and catching them dressing and undressing and doing all that stuff. Richard also began using LSD and got an interest in Satanism.
Yep.
During this time.
Yeah, he was getting a pretty good teaching on how to serial kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's not good. And while he was in school, he took a job at a local Holiday Inn.
Yep, 16 years old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And at 16-year-old, he had a pass key to all the rooms in the hotel,
which probably why he took the job there.
Yeah. And his employment had ended after a hotel guest returned to their room and found Richard trying to rape his wife.
Yeah, Richard had used his key card and went in, and the lady was, I think she was either getting in the shower or getting out of the shower. And the husband had went down to the lobby or out to the parking lot, depending on what you know. Anyway, and so Richard went in, was attempting to rape, and when the husband came back in the room.
Yeah.
And he beat the brakes off Richard.
Yeah. He bloodied him up pretty good. But Dale, this couple in the hotel, they were from out of town. They lived out of state.
Right.
And they even declined to return to testify against Richard.
Yeah, they didn't want to go back and do all that, so they just left, and so no charges were filed, so Richard goes free.
Yeah.
So now he's getting shown that, just like Miguel, basically you get a little slap on the hand, nothing really matters. Yeah. So he's been taught all this stuff, and got all these so-called, I guess, I won't say weapons, but all these tools. So he's been taught he has all these tools. Basically, he has serial killer toolkit of knowledge anyway. And now he went in and tried some stuff and didn't even get in trouble for it.
Yep. So he's getting a sense of being invincible, kind of, I guess.
All right. In 1979, Richard meets Donna Myers, who had went to El Paso with two of her friends, Armando Rodriguez and Tony Reyes. They went down from San Francisco to see Richard. Armando and Richard had been friends, and he introduced Donna to him. Donna would later say that when she met Richard, he was a really nice guy. When they decided to go back to California, Richard jumped on board with them and rode the bus back, and that's when he went to live on Skid Row.
Yeah, I think he was living in hotels and
right there at the bus terminal, hanging out with the big clan of thieves and
seeing prostitutes too, pretty regular.
Right, and this is where he becomes very good at stealing cars.
Mm-hmm.
So he was doing that, and then he ended up robberies. He was robbing places to support his habits of prostitution and drugs and stealing cars, I guess.
Yeah. So he was doing a little bit of cocaine and LSD and everything else too. Just probably whatever he could get his hands on.
Right. Yeah, he was even, at this point, he's even started shooting cocaine, and even once Donna had said that he had broken the needle off in his arm. He had to go to the ER to have it removed.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was at this point where he dived in a little deeper into Satanism when Donna would say he was always drawing pentagrams on his arms and said he would really like to have them tattooed on. But I don't think he ever got that far. Yeah. All right, it was at this point in February 26, 1984, Richard starts raping little girls. He abducted a 6-year-old girl from a bus stop who was there waiting on her sister to return. He allegedly stuffed her into a laundry bag, molested her, and then later let her go. It was also reported he did this to another girl a little later. Now, on March 11th, a 9-year-old boy was kidnapped from his home in Monterey Park. He was sexually assaulted and then left in another park near Soho Lake. So it's getting pretty...
He's just building up and building up.
Yeah, and starting off with kids ain't real cool.
Yep. And then on April the 10th of 1984, Richard murders a 9-year-old girl, Mei Ling. And this was in the basement of the hotel where he was living. And this was, I think, in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco.
Right.
He raped her and beat her and before stabbing her to death.
And they left her hung up on a pipe or something.
Yeah, hanging from a pipe.
And this kill actually wasn't linked to Richard until 2009 when they went back and had a DNA analysis.
Yeah. So
But he never confessed to this murder, so.
But it was linked to him.
Correct.
So yeah, these first few murders weren't even part of his Night Stalker crimes.
No. I don't know. He was just something about these kids. I don't know. That kind of bugs you.
Yep.
2 little girls, a little boy, and then to kill another little girl. His first kill was the little girl. So.
Yeah. Now we're going to move on to just a couple months in 1984. On June the 28th of 1984, a 79-year-old woman named Jenny Vincow.
Right.
And she was found brutally murdered in her apartment in the Glassell Park of Los Angeles. And she'd been stabbed repeatedly while asleep in her bed. Her throat was slashed so deeply that it almost cut her head off.
Yeah, Richard was coked up at this time, and he'd even made a mistake of taking off his glove to take the screen out, so he left a fingerprint on the screen.
Yeah.
And I think this is when he kind of figured out he needed to quit doing drugs if he's going to be a killer.
Yeah.
But basically it said that what had happened is he went in, and this was like a lower rent apartment. It wasn't nothing fancy, and then he went in, he was infuriated because there wasn't anything to steal, and that's why he was so brutal on the killing.
Yep.
So I think after this is when he steps up and going into more affluent neighborhoods.
Yeah. But really, during all of his kills, it really didn't matter. He got to where it didn't matter what neighborhood he was in later on.
Yeah.
But he didn't care.
He didn't care. He never had a MO. It didn't matter how old you were, how young you were.
How many people were in the house?
Didn't matter if you was home.
No.
All right.
Going to move just a little bit ahead. It was almost, I guess, about 9 months later, in 1985 on March the 17th, Richard attacks a 22-year-old Maria Hernandez in her home in Rosemead, California. And I think she just got home, and he had snuck into the garage when she had pulled into the garage.
Yeah, he was. She had pulled in, and then when the door was going down, he snuck in under the door without her knowing.
Yeah. And she turned around, and he had a .22 caliber pointed at her.
Right.
And fired at her face.
Yeah, I think what happened is when he ducked under the door, his hat fell off and hit the ground, and she heard it and thought it was a footstep. When she turned around, he had the gun in her face.
Yeah. And when he fired the gun, she had her hands up in front of her face, and Dale, the bullet, ricocheted off the keys in her hand.
Yeah, miraculous, man.
How lucky was that for her?
Yeah, and smart enough for her, she went down like she was shot.
Yeah, she actually pretended to be dead.
So he stepped over and went on in the house.
Yeah, he went in the house. And when he got in the house, he found Maria's roommate, Dale, I think her name was Dale Yoshi Osaki. And she was 34. And she had heard the gunshot and ducked behind the kitchen counter.
Right. And as soon as she had seen like the figure coming in the door, she ducked behind the counter and hoping he didn't see her.
Yeah, he just stood there silently, pretty much.
Yeah, he just walked right over to where she is behind and held the gun there. And then as soon as she popped her head up to see if he was there, he shot her point blank in the forehead.
Yep, she knew. I guess Richard knew her curiosity would take over.
Yeah, he maybe thought he was gone if he was quiet enough.
Yeah, she just raised up and bam.
So as bad as that is, just think about how much good luck was in the garage with that girl. I mean, you think about it. how many times would that happen?
Yeah.
You get shot at, throw your hands up, just happen to have your keys in the right place, and it ricochet the bullet off.
And as he was leaving, he went back through the garage and saw that Maria was still alive, but he didn't do anything to her. He just left her.
Yeah.
So this was the first witness.
First person he left alive, yep.
Yep.
And then later would say that he thought, he actually seen her, she was still alive. It kind of freaked him out, like he had some kind of divine intervention. So he's like, well, he just left. Plus, being in that, in those condominiums, he knew he'd already fired a couple shots. He probably needed to get the hell on out.
Probably did, yeah. Now, Dale, within an hour of this Rosemead invasion, Ramirez pulled 32-year-old Veronica Yu out of her car in Monterey Park, California. What he was, he'd pulled up behind her and following her, and she knew that he was following her.
Right. Yeah, and so she pulled over, and actually he went by her. And so then her, I guess, being I don't know, gutsy,
a female,
being a gutsy gal,
yeah,
just pulled right back out behind him and started following him.
Yeah.
Until they got to a stoplight, and he jumped out.
And they said that he jumped out. He was almost like quick as lightning, jumped across the hood of her car and got in the passenger side.
Yeah, he come up to her and actually tried to jerk her out the window, and he couldn't get out there, and he noticed that the other side was unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
Jumped across the hood like Bo Duke or whatever.
Hood sliding like Bo Duke.
Right. And then jerked that door open, and then actually shot her in the side, and then shot her once again when she was trying to go out the door. And this was actually witnessed by a couple sitting in their car right down the street.
Yeah. And Dale, she was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital.
Right.
And the two murders and attempted third in a single day attracted extensive coverage in the media, and who dubbed Richard the curly hair attacker and bulging eyes and wide-spaced teeth, and actually had rotting teeth, as the walk-in killer and valley intruder.
So he's getting a name now. He's getting a little more notoriety.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about his teeth a little bit later on, why he had rotten teeth.
Yeah.
On March 27th, 1985, Richard entered a home that he had burglarized a year earlier in Whittier, California, about 2 a.m., and killed sleeping Vincent Charles Zazzara, who was 64, with a gunshot to his head with a .22 caliber gun.
Yeah, I think he was laying on the couch sleeping.
Laying there asleep.
Had fell asleep, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, got to mention that this summer, it's also a really hot summer in California, with lots of people leaving their windows and doors, or at least their windows up. And then, because he always snuck in, basically through a window or an unlocked door or a pet door or something like that. So hardly ever did he had to actually break in.
I think this summer of '85 was like a record heat in California.
It sort of seems like him.
Yeah, I think I heard that. And Zazzara's wife, Maxine, she was 44. She was actually 20 years younger than her husband.
Right. And
she woke up to this gunshot.
Well, I'm sure.
And Ramirez went into the bedroom where she was and bound her hands and demanded to know where her valuable was.
Yep. That seemed to be his M.O.
And he started ransacking the house and room and everywhere. But Maxine was able to loosen some of the restraints.
Yeah, she kind of got it loose and rolled off the bed because she knew that they kept a shotgun underneath the bed.
Yeah.
And she rolled under there and grabbed the shotgun. And when she stood up, she... what do you call it? She ratcheted the shotgun back because I guess it was a pump. And then when Richard turned around, she pulled the trigger.
And it would just click.
Yep, the worst sound ever.
Yeah.
So the weekend before, the grandchildren had been over, so Vincent, being the good grandfather he was, had taken the shells out of the shotgun just to be safe.
Yeah.
And hadn't put them back in.
Yeah.
And this would be very costly.
Yeah, after she pulled the gun and it went click, he shot her 3 times.
Yeah,
he was pissed off.
Yeah, he was really infuriated. So he went to the kitchen to get a large kitchen knife.
Yeah, and
he was intending on cutting her heart out.
Yeah, but he couldn't get past the breastbone.
Yeah, so this is he just started stabbing her, mutilating her body, and then went on to gouge her eyes out and placed them in a jewelry box
and took him with him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, pretty bad dude.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough.
And it determined at the autopsy that the mutilations were post-mortem, and Ramirez actually left footprints at this scene in the flower bed.
Is this the first time he's left a footprint?
Yeah, this is the first time. And they were from a pair of Avia sneakers, and the tread pattern on the Avia are pretty distinct. It's like a patented trademark. So it's pretty distinct, that they can narrow it down pretty good too. And
to the brand, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he wore a size 11.
11 and a half.
11 and a half.
Right.
So, there's not many Avias sold 11 and a half. I think it could narrow that down.
From what I heard, in that area, there was only 2 pair of 11 and a half Avias sold, which is kind of odd to me, but that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't many people buying Avias.
Yeah, but the police were able to photograph and make cast of the Avia footprint.
Right, and this would start to become commonplace when all the murders is one of the ways they tie them together eventually.
But they did find that this was basically the only evidence that the police had at the time, and the bullets found at the scene were matched to those from previous attacks.
Right,
and the police began to realize they had a serial killer. And just a side note, Vincent and Maxine's bodies were found by their son Peter. So I cannot imagine.
No, we actually watched the thing with Peter on there, and he said still to this day it bothers him.
Yeah,
he can't have Christmas and he can't have Thanksgiving or any of that stuff like that just because of the trauma that this caused.
Yeah, that Richard stole everything from him.
Yeah.
Said he didn't go to the trial. He didn't do anything later on. We'll talk about that. But wouldn't even show up.
Right, because he knew it wouldn't be good.
Yep.
And I can't blame him.
Yep. He said it almost kind of like what we talked about with Tony Simo and with Rudolph Tyner having vengeance, wanting to get back. I'm sure he would have that feeling.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this is brutal, man.
All right, Dale. On May the 14th of 1985, Richard returned to Monterey Park and entered the home of Bill Doy, who was 66, and his disabled wife, Lillian, who was 56. And he surprised Doy in his bedroom, and Richard shot him in the face with the .22 semi-automatic pistol as Doy actually was trying to reach for his handgun.
Yeah, he kept it by his bed, right?
Yeah. And after beating Bill to death, or beating him pretty good, Ramirez entered Lillian's bedroom, bound her with thumb cuffs, raped her, and ransacked the home for valuables.
So wait, so this lady is disabled. She's in her hospital bed, I assume,
yeah,
in her bedroom. So he goes into her room, puts thumb cuffs on her, which is something he used a good bit, and then raped her.
Yeah, disabled woman.
Good God. And then went to ransack the home for valuables.
Yeah. All right, Dale. We're going to stop this podcast off here with part 1. Maybe 2, maybe 3 parts in this, because we want to make sure we get every detail we can about Richard Ramirez, because it's a pretty graphic case, and it's detailed, and lots of people know about it, so we want to make sure we get the coverage right.
Right. Yeah, he's one of the, I guess, the top. He's one of the top. I don't know. There's a lot of serial killers that are like the top guys, but this has got to be one of the most evil, sickest guys that there was.
He was actually
he didn't care.
One of the first ones to be dubbed with a nickname.
Oh yeah.
So he stands out.
Yeah, very much so, because he didn't care. 8 to 80, he didn't. I mean, just think he's done it all.
Yep. We're going to get out of here. We want everyone to be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is the Crack House Chronicles.